This is the plaintiff, Godfrey Story Jr. He says he was driving down a 4-lane road in Jacksonville, Florida in 2019 when the defendant attempted to make a U-turn in front of him and he slammed into her car, totaling his. He's lucky to be alive. The defendant was ticketed by the cops and she didn't have adequate insurance to cover his damages, so he's suing her for the $648 he's still owed. This is the defendant, April Arlene Hernandez. She says the plaintiff didn't hit his brakes when he saw her making a U-turn so she could go to the gas station. The cops told her the plaintiff was driving at a high rate of speed. She did not, she repeats, did not get a ticket for anything. And the plaintiff got paid by her insurance company, so good riddance to him. She's accused of pulling a Yui.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says he was driving down the road minding his own business when, bam, all of a sudden the defendant makes an illegal Yui and crashes into him. But the defendant says the guy was driving at a high rate of speed and that's why he crashed into her. It's the case of pulling a Yui.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Story, you are suing Ms. Hernandez because, according to you, there was an accident last year that was entirely her fault. You tell me what happened from your perspective.
Okay. I was traveling west on what's called Normandy Boulevard here in Jacksonville, Florida. And once I got up to the intersection, Ms. Hernandez, I don't know if she was trying to make a U-turn or she was trying to go into the gas station on the corner. But the light was green on both sides. Apparently, because she kept going into the intersection. Okay. I kept going forward, and I saw her like inching up to the intersection, but I didn't think she was going to turn. So then once I turned, she shot across I was in the far right-hand lane on this particular street. I was on the inside lane, so she just kept going. Like I say, I don't know if she was going into the gas station or attempting to make a U-turn. But we collided.
All right, you end up hitting her while she's turning in front of you, correct?
While she's making a U-turn, yes. I think that my left front hit her right front. Because she came across my inside lane into the outside lane in which I was driving. Okay.
So when the accident happens, did the car spin? Like, tell me what the aftermath was like.
No, I slammed on brakes and I slammed on my horn as well. And once we made impact, her car went to the left. Actually stayed in the lane. My car went off into the gas station to some woods right outside the gas station. My car went, and I guess it jumped the concrete sidewalk and jumped into the woods.
All right, so nobody was hurt, right?
No, I got out. I actually got out the car. I was stunned a little bit, but I wasn't hurt. I got in the car. Looked at my car for a minute, and I actually walked across the interstate to make sure she was okay. She had actually 2 girls in the car with her. 2
little girls?
No, they were teenage.
Okay. So, the important thing is that no one was hurt. You get out of the car, and what happens? Does she apologize? Does she acknowledge it was her fault? What does she say to you?
She said she didn't see me. I was laying on the horn, and I don't know. I don't know whether her music was up. I don't know what's going on in her car, and I don't want to speak ill of her.
Okay.
But
no.
She said
that's why they call it an
me.
Accident. Ms. Hernandez, what happened? How do you not see him? He exists. He was not beamed down by
But it was on a hill. He was coming from a hill coming down, and he even told the officer that he thought I was making a U-turn into the first lane. But I was making a U-turn into the gas station.
You were going from the opposite lanes, heading in an opposite direction, turning in front of how many lanes of traffic to go into the gas station?
It's only 2, ma'am. It's not a 4, it's 2-lane street, 2 lanes.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Well, did she or didn't she hit his car? Let's listen.
Okay, you acknowledge the accident's your fault though, right?
Yes, ma'am, correctly, yes.
Did you end up getting a ticket or no?
No, I did not. Because once again, he did tell the officer that he thought I was turning into the first lane, and that's why he kept going.
All right. So, Ms. Hernandez, no one's hurt. The accident's your fault. You're insured, right, Ms. Hernandez? And Mr. Story,
yes,
you contact her insurance company. But what happens? They offer you too little?
Well, They say that car was total loss, and I had 3 payments left. That's crazy. But they say the car was a total loss, and they say she didn't have enough insurance to cover it, and so that my deductible was $500, and they didn't pay it initially. I wasn't trying to double dip, but they initially paid it, but not until after I filed the lawsuit.
So what ends up happening? When you filed the lawsuit, you were suing for you end up deciding you're going to go through your own insurance company.
Well, no, her insurance company decided that.
They decided that.
No,
That's your decision. That's not.
Well, they told me, her insurance company told me I had to go through my insurance company.
Oh, that's not true. It's fine. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that you not end up out of pocket on an accident that wasn't your fault. That's why you ended up having to file the lawsuit. So there's 2 things right now that you're out of pocket. One of them was the $500 deductible when you filed the lawsuit. Did her insurance company eventually send you the $500?
They did. They did.
Okay, so you've got that. You cashed it. Everything's good with that.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll reduce your lawsuit accordingly by those $500, but you're still out the $148 for a car rental, correct?
No, they ended up sending that as well, but it didn't. It took a while for them to send it, and again, it was after I filed a lawsuit, and I was trying to take the evidence into.
All right.
Well, here's the problem, Judge Milian.
Go ahead.
I was trying to take the evidence that they had already paid me to the courts, but with COVID-19, it's been closed. So we've been doing emails back and forth, and I was told by the courts to just present that when I came.
Got it. So my ruling on this case is that you are very much entitled to the $648 that you are suing for, but the defendant doesn't have to pay anything else because apparently things happened the way they were supposed to, and your insurance company ponied up that amount. Now, let me just, for your own education, tell you what else is going to end up happening. His insurance company is going to make your insurance company reimburse his insurance company for the amount that they paid him. They know that. They do this all day long. And this is exactly why you pay premiums. So you shouldn't end up having to come to court and bother yourselves because both of you actually have insurance and shouldn't end up having to go through this. But I'm glad that it ended up working out and that they paid you because I do find that you would be entitled to that $648. But because her insurance company has already paid you, that takes care of this lawsuit.
Well, I had another question.
Go ahead, yeah.
One of the reasons why I just didn't drop it all together was because of the court costs. I was told I was going to be reimbursed for the court costs.
Absolutely. You are always, when you win a lawsuit, which is why I ruled the way I did, you will always be reimbursed for your court costs. So yes, that will happen. She will have to reimburse you for the court costs. And then you can go to your insurance company and tell them, you should have paid him sooner because I'm now out these court costs. Okay? Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails in this case, but since so much money has already transpired between the participants and their insurance companies, the plaintiff really is not going to get any cash. He's going to get his court costs back. So let's ask Ms. Hernandez how she feels about that. April, have you learned anything about making a U-turn and a highway again?
Yes, just wait for the turning arrow.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right, Godfrey Story. Mr. Story, let me ask you how you feel about all this. I know you've been through quite a bit already over this whole issue. How do you feel about what happened in the court today?
I think the judge made a good ruling. And I don't think Ms. Hernandez was, malicious in the whole of this. Like I said, I checked to see was she okay. And it was just an accident. I wish her well.
Okay, well, good enough for you. All right, you are going to get your court costs back, and that will bring this case to a close. Now, let's join Judge Milian and her husband, Judge John, for another session of After the Verdict.
So, liability not really an issue here. You didn't have to get hung up on that very much, right?
No, not much of one. She was pretty forthright about it, and it was pretty clear when you cut in front of somebody, it's going to be on you.
Right, a couple of nice people to have an accident.
I know,
like
but if you have to have an accident, I'm happy to crash into either one of them.
Interestingly, one of the things that was kind of behind the scenes here is I heard the plaintiff say something about, well, I was almost ready to make the final payment, and that's one of the nightmare scenarios that can happen with car insurance.
Yeah, he did not want to total this car. And it really, I don't think it needed to be totaled. And on top of that, her insurance didn't offer him the Blue Book value of it. So they were offering him very little. And then if they total it, they want the car for parts and everything else.
Right, they get their own little slice. and
Right.
When they part out the car, they sell it for salvage.
Right.
They might get another $1,000 or a little bit
Right.
more. It goes right in their pocket.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if somebody hits you and they're either underinsured or you owe more than the total value of the car, you're on the short end. So it can
Right.
put you in a
That's
tight
why
spot.
you want to always make sure that you have the kind of insurance that covers your damage, regardless of who you end up having the misfortune of crashing into. In the end, they're going to end up paying exactly what his insurance paid. You can tell from the way things have developed that there's already a subrogation claim going on between the two insurance companies.
Right, and apparently the insurance process worked out the way it was supposed to here. We all hate writing those checks for the premiums every year, and we complain about it. But hey, when
Or
this
every
happens,
month.
right? Or every month, when this happens, I guess it saves the day.
Yes, it does.
Jay in Idaho wants to know, what's the first thing you should do when you're in a car accident? Well, I got to tell you, the first thing you should do is not move the car. Get your cell phone out and take photographs, because you want to take photographs before you move the car so the judge can see the damage and who hit who.